Hey guys. Um, so first and foremost, every time I do this, because I have to use a headset now, which like it makes me speak quieter because this is noise canceling and I can hear myself. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. You guys let me know in the comments. But every time I do this, every time I wear my headset, I feel like I am like some sort of pilot or something. I'm just over here like ground control to Major Tom. Like, if you guys get that musical reference, you guys are awesome. If you're younger than me, especially if you're younger than me, you're awesome, and I love you if you get that reference. Because for me, that's an old song. For a lot of you, I've seen my analytics. For a lot of you, it's not. But for me, it is. I'm a 90s kid. And I have. So yesterday, I touched on like what Monday videos are kind of sort of going to look like, and we're going to continue kind of exploring Mondays. Mondays are going to be the hard ones to understand because the rest of them are going to be pretty consistent. Wednesdays and Fridays, like Wednesday of this week, so tomorrow, is going to look very different potentially from what the following Wednesday and the Wednesday after that is going to look like. But Wednesdays and Fridays are our free for all, so there anything goes. It can be Q&A, it can be a story time, whatever the case. Um, but today is either going to be called like Tea Time Tuesday, Tea Spill Tuesday. I don't know. You guys come up with a name in the comments. And we'll roll with that. I just kind of want it to be a little bit of alliteration. I'm an alliteration freak. Um, so I like Music and Mayhem Monday, like the the M's. Um, it it especially like stuck with me when Bailey Sarian came out with like what was it? Murder Mystery and Mayhem Mondays. Shana 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 shana. I'm sorry I needed to finish that because that was a pivotal moment on YouTube for me and like I loved her little jingle that she had. Um shana 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 shana. If you guys are a fan of Bailey, um, comment down below. And if you guys aren't, you should go check her out if you like true crime, um, and mystery and makeup. I think that's what it was called. Murder, Mystery, and Makeup Mondays. Yeah. And so like I loved that kind of alliteration. So I would love to be able to do like Music and Mayhem Mondays. Um, if you guys like that idea, let me know. On yesterday's video. God, what did I call it? I think it was Music, Mayhem, and You, something like that. Give me a second. I'll pull it up real fast. Where is it? Um, Videos. Music, Tea, Mayhem, and You. Here's what's coming and how you play a part. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. I want input. I want to know if you guys are confused. If there's anything that you guys are just like, what the hell is she talking about? Um, Either way, I don't care. Just let me know down below in that video what we want to call that series. But this one is either going to be like Tea Time Tuesday. I really like Tea Time Tuesday because alliteration. I don't know. You guys let me know down below in this video what you guys would like the series called. But we're going to go ahead and jump right into it because there's a lot that I want to cover. And I mentioned in yesterday's video that Tuesday was kind of going to be bringing attention to some new topics and then touching on existing topics. And I do have existing topics to talk about, like Spence, Adam McIntyre, Hello Leash. I did not think that we were going to continue to be here, but yet here we are, sadly. But there are a couple other things that I want to discuss. One of them is, well, 1/2 is YouTube related. The other one is more of like just celebrity related. And I wanted to touch on those and then we'll get into the YouTube stuff because I think that since most of this is, or rather, since the beginning of this is reflective on like health and wellness in a way, um, health and life, that it kind of deserves to be right here at the very front, at the very beginning, and then we can get into the actual tea drama sort of situation later as things move on. But the first thing I wanted to mention is Jazza. Now, Jazza His name is Josiah Brooks. He has not made that private at all. He has a channel here on YouTube, and it used to be called Draw with Jazza. So if you've known about Jazza for any period of time, you might have known it as Draw with Jazza. You might have known it as Jazza. You might have known him from Tabletop Time. Um, what are the other ones that he's done? Art with Jazz, I think. He had like a couple different name changes because it went from like draw with Jazz, and he was just like, I don't just draw though. I do like art and different types of art, and I sculpt and stuff like that. So I think he did art time with Jazza or something like that, and then it became just Jazza, which was everything, like all encompassing everything that he did. But he's an Aussie YouTuber. For those that don't know, Aussie just means he's Australian. And he does, like I said, different types of art. He's a father, a husband, a YouTuber, and recently his wife has been diagnosed with breast cancer, aggressive breast cancer. And all the videos that are pertinent and all links that are pertinent to this story are going to be in my pinned comment below, um, because this is asking something from you guys. Um, and he doesn't need like a whole ton of subscribers. He has quite a few, but this is important enough that I felt like it's easy, it's something simple, I can ask my audience to contribute, um, and it's for a good cause. So again, his wife was recently diagnosed with aggressive breast cancer, and due to the cost of chemo and her getting a double mastectomy, and there's a video about that. I believe it's called My Wife Has Cancer, or My Wife Was Diagnosed with Cancer, or something like that. She discussed what type of cancer it is and how they found it, and the fact that it's predominantly in one breast, but if they remove one and don't remove the other, there is a 76% chance the other one would be affected. So she's going to have a double mastectomy. And because of the cost of all of the healthcare, Jazza started an auction for some of his original art that he had created, and sold some things, some of his art, some of his sculptures, some of his miniatures, at a flat rate for the people that couldn't afford to participate in the auction. And he has also, now I don't know if that link to his auction or any of those products are still up, but if it is, again, it'll be in the pinned comment. Um, he's also made a song and a music video called We Are Warriors. The proceeds from that go to an Australian cancer foundation. I forget what the name of it is. I want to say it's Peter something, but it's an Australian cancer foundation, and it helps people with research toward cancer, cancer treatment, things like that. Um, and all you have to do, I'm going to be putting the link in the pinned comment. All you have to do is go watch that video. That's all you have to do. He will earn proceeds from you watching the video, and it will go toward that cancer foundation to further help his family and many other families in Australia that are battling with cancer. I want to react to that video as well, but in the meantime, I would like for you guys to genuinely go watch it, find it. Again, it's going to be in the pinned comment. If you guys don't want to go to the pinned comment, find it yourself. It's Jazza, We Are Warriors. It's pretty easy to find. And just go watch it, please. It helps. Um, and then, so that's with Jazza. And in the same vein of health and life and things like that, Hayden Panettiere passed away yesterday, I think it was. It was the 16th, I believe. So 2 days ago, on Sunday. She passed away at the age of 36. Um, Her brother also passed away in 2023, and he was 28 at the time due to an enlarged heart. The cause of Hayden's death is suspected overdose, but that is speculation and is pending further investigation. What is known, however, is that she was found unresponsive and in cardiac arrest prior to her death. In that same vein, we'll be watching that as it develops, by the way. In the same vein of health and famous people, Perez Hilton, who had a TikTok health threat live stream on August 4th. He remains hospitalized and is receiving both inpatient medical and mental health care. And that update was released by his family. So keep him in your thoughts, I suppose, if you're a fan of Perez or even if you're not. Um, I did not see the TikTok live stream. It, I just know it was bad. There are people that who I didn't even know that they knew who Perez Hilton was that were coming to me and telling me, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, like I know. And they were like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't see it, but I know about it." And I wasn't expecting those people to be in the loop or aware at all. So his notoriety precedes him. So I feel like Perez Hilton is one of those names that you just kind of, you know who it is. Um, you know who they are, kind of thing. And regardless of the tabloids and the rumors and the things that he's done, I think it's very unfortunate that what he was driven to mentally um, took place. So, again, I would say keep him and his family in your thoughts. He has children as well. So, definitely keep them in your thoughts. But these are the facts as we know them so far. We'll be watching for those. If there are any updates between now and Thursday, I'll be making a short tomorrow and letting you know if there's been any developments there. Otherwise, stay tuned for Thursday if there are any developments on that. And then I want to go ahead and get into Spence and Adam and Leash. Spence is going to take a hot minute though, just so we're aware. How many minutes am I at? 11 minutes. I'm doing good. Heck yeah. Um, Spence is going to be a long one though. I took lots of notes. For the dude, well, not the dude, I don't know. For them, I don't know if they're non-binary. I don't know what they identify as. I don't think anybody does. I could be wrong though. If you know what Spence identifies as, let me know. And by Spence, I mean Spencer. I mean the sixth Spence, who has recently removed their YouTube channel, taken down their YouTube channel. I don't know if they've gotten rid of the rest of their social media, but that is the case as it stands right now. I do know that they have since I'm going to be addressing them as they. I hope that's not misgendering them in any sort of way. I don't know what their pronouns are. I have not had that confirmed as of yet. Um, but they posted a new apology. Now, in the scheme of video apologies, this would be the second. I think if we're looking at video apologies, pinned comments, statements, all of that in the same vein. I think this is the third or fourth apology that Spence has come forward and made. Um, but the second video apology was posted on a lesser known social media site called Substack. And I did watch that yesterday. Um, and this is what I took notes on. So in the video, they said they wanted to put the second video apology on their channel, but they got a response on their community post that a second apology would do more harm to Paige. So they didn't put the second apology on their YouTube. But they thought that this would do more harm to Paige and made a second apology anyway, but just not on YouTube. Like the way they phrase this, like a second apology would do more damage, but you made a second apology anyway. You just didn't do it on YouTube, but you knew that people would find it and react to it. Adam McIntyre certainly did. There are others, like there are people that are aware that this exists. So I'm not sure what the goal was there. And then let's see. They stated that deleting their channel was supposed to be in solidarity to the request not to make another apology video, which they made a second apology video anyway. But then they state that they realized the deletion of their channel instead looked like a recant of their apology, and that was not their intention. However, comment doesn't negate the impact. Putting that out there. So this is where I started taking a lot of notes, and I mean like second by second, minute by minute. So because there's, let's see, 2 pages of notes. Now, I mean, this is relatively a small notebook, but there's still 2 pages of daggone notes. So at 1:30, Spence decides that it's a good idea to educate everybody on what racism is and why it's bad. This is an apology to Paige. I think Paige would be aware of what racism is and why it's bad. But I digress. At 2:09, 2 minutes and 9 seconds, Spence admits that they never should have brought Paige into the conversation. Okay, good. Yeah, that would have been great. At 2 minutes 50 seconds, the racism education is still going. And for context, the video is 7 minutes and 37 seconds long. So almost halfway through, and the racism education is still going strong. At 2 minutes and 51 seconds, we get the first "I'm sorry." The apology portion toward Paige ends at around 3 minutes and 17 seconds. So basically, it's like, I apologize for what I said. I apologize for putting you in the video. I apologize for saying these things. At 3 minutes 50 seconds, they say, "Rather than learning about your grief, I should have left you out of my video completely." I mean, yes, but no, you can do both. Like, I, if it was a private matter, which Paige said she didn't expect you to know about her family grief that was happening at the time. She didn't expect anybody to know about it. It was a family thing. You didn't need to educate yourself on her grief. Like, you could have simply kept her out of the video. So, in that vein, yes, but also not instead of. You could have admitted, like, hey, I didn't know, and I know that you said that I didn't know, and I'm sorry that I added to what was already going on. The biggest portion of that in my mind, as far as educating oneself on someone else's grief, is more of like, you never know what someone's going through. Try to give them grace where you can. Um, and that was in that situation. I mean, give them grace where you can. You can hold them accountable, but in that moment, in that time, Paige hadn't done anything wrong. She'd been doing what all these commentary YouTubers had been doing, all these drama channel YouTubers had been doing, and that was commenting on the Jen and Adam situation, period. The relevance of throwing Paige into it at all is wild to me. Anywho, I digress. Around 4 minutes 50 seconds, they admit that the first apology got diluted by them making an apology to Jen Dent and their own audience, which I agree to. I agree to that. I agree that saying "I'm sorry, Paige," but also I'm sorry to Jen, a white woman, and I'm sorry to my audience who are predominantly likely white as well, and for letting y'all down. Keep it on Paige. Keep it on Paige. At 4 minutes 54 seconds, they said, "Paige stated that I had hurt her, and I responded by making my apology about everyone but her." Fair, accurate. Do better. At 5 minutes 8 seconds to approximately 5 minutes 10 seconds, they admit to doubling down on their first apology. All right, cool. But then they quickly, between 5 minutes and 10 seconds and 5 minutes 46 seconds, they state that they needed to take a day to process what was happening. A day. They just needed to take a day. They needed a day of rest to reflect. Just a day. Because it only took a few seconds, it only took a couple minutes to put out that microaggression in the video. And it only requires a day of thinking to come to some sort of conclusion. A day. A day where they decided that they were going to educate all of us on racism and why it's a problem. Mhm. Interesting way to spend your day. At 5 minutes and 46 seconds, they switched the topic to their Discord server. Once again, this was supposed to be an apology to who? To Paige, right. And it got minimized yet again by what? Right, something not related to Paige. Something related to Spence. Right. This Discord server conversation focuses on the transgender Discord users and their Discord, which isn't bad on its own, but again, this has nothing to do with Paige. So this could have been its own apology, but no, let's just lump all of it together. Let's just lump everything and everybody together. Yeah. At 7 minutes and 26 seconds, they apologized to Paige one more time and apologized that their use of their platform caused harm. And I guess that's supposed to justify them deleting their YouTube. That, to me, is rather sad. It's not up to me, however, to accept the apology. That is up to Paige and Paige only. I would prefer that if you're going to be in my comments, you can absolutely have opinions on whether or not you think the apology was well done, admitted fault, was manipulative, etc., whether it was good or bad. But please keep the topic on that and not whether or not Paige should accept it. That is not for any of us to decide. That is up to Paige whether or not she would like to speak on it, accept it, deny it, and move on. Until or unless I see a direction that that takes, I am not going to speak on it unless they come forward with another daggone apology. At this point, Spence, just stop. You've done enough damage. You continue to do damage. Please just stop. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, I am going to be discussing Adam and Hello Leash. And I am so tired of addressing Adam and Hello Leash. But there are some bits and pieces that I'm just like, let's make a note. Um, let's stick a pen in it and keep an eye on that. Um, so let's see. Hang on. Okay. So this is in no particular order. This is just things that just like pins on a cork board where I'm just like, ooh, I remember this and I remember that and I remember this. I also want to say this isn't me sitting here hating on Leash or hating on Adam. This isn't me sitting here defending Leash or defending Adam. Period at all whatsoever. It's the events as I either recall them or as I saw them. And I want to go ahead and preface that with I am very likely not going to think every single thing in the same way that someone else is going to think something. Um, there was a commenter. Before we get into this, I actually want to shout them out because they kept it calm, they kept it classy. I appreciate them so much. Let me see what their name is. Delightfully underscore small 26, sorry, 2963. They commented on my Hello Leash video, public scrutiny versus harassment, and they were so genuinely kind. Um, we disagreed on a few things, but they were genuinely very kind. They kept it kind, they kept it classy. We disagreed without like arguing and bickering. I love that. I love to see it. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see in my comment section is having actual discussions like that. I think those are far more productive than being like, yeah, well, and yeah, but, and no. We can agree to disagree. We can have differings of opinions. And I think it's quite boring if you have, Adam saying one thing and then Peter Mon is regurgitating that same information, and then Paige Christie is regurgitating that same information, and then Fat Sajak is regurgitating that same information, and everybody has the same train of thought. I think it is more productive to, like, I know these people think. I'm not trying to say that they don't. I think it's more constructive to be willing to look at both sides and not necessarily have a black and white way of thinking of this is right and this is wrong. Um, or if you're Team Adam, you have to be anti-leash. I don't subscribe to that kind of mindset. I'm not necessarily Switzerland. I am absolutely going to call out inconsistencies and negative behaviors. But I will never view someone, I'm gonna make this very clear, I will never view someone as being completely irredeemable. I have done horrible things in my past. I have had friends do horrible things in their past, and I have been forgiven, and they have been forgiven by me. No one on this earth is irredeemable. I'm sorry if that upsets you in some way. That's how my way of thinking goes. Um, so while I understand there's going to be a whole hate train coming at me, either for it's either going to be muckers or mucker adjacents or lurkers that are going to come at me and be like, "How dare you bring that up?" And then I know I'm going to have Hello Leash fans being like, "You're being too hard on her." Look, the facts are the facts. These things happened. I can't change that, but I'm not going to ignore them either. So if y'all don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. Watch somebody else. I don't know. My voice is going to sound different and be different than a lot of what's out there because I feel like if we continue to fill the drama community space with the same echo chambers, we are enabling the witch hunts, enabling negative behaviors of like swarming people and sending followers to go hate on people without necessarily saying go do that. Like I feel like it encourages that sort of behavior, and I don't want to do that. I don't want people jumping on bandwagons like that. That's not what I want. And I'm sorry, I'm a free thinker. Um, I'm not jumping on bandwagons just because it's the popular thing to do. I will take the road less traveled, period. Um, so, stick around if you want to see that. But if y'all just want to see more of the same, there's plenty of YouTube creators out there that are just regurgitating that same information over and over and over again. And this is not a hate train toward Paige or Peter or Fat Sajak. I love all three of them. I have a lot of respect for them. Um, Paige is probably one of the ones that I have the most respect for at this point in time. Um, and possibly Fat Sajak. Peter Peter is one I watch for comfort. I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. I watch Peter Mon for comfort. He is like the YouTube dad. And in my opinion, and the way that I view YouTube and the way that I view the drama community, like Peter Mon is like the YouTube dad, where it literally is like you're sitting at his kitchen table and he's just like, "Did you hear about what Jacqueline Hill did? Girl, let me tell you." Um, and I love that for him. Whereas like Fat Sajak, she very much comes with receipts. I've seen her do it. She did it for the Gabby Hanna Patreon chat. Um, and love that. Um, Paige is very nuanced. I've noticed that with her. Paige is very much like, let's look at both sides. And I think, I could be wrong, but I like to think that my way of thinking is similar in the way that we hold both, where we say, like, okay, well, Jen was a victim of Gabby, but this behavior is still detrimental and damaging. In the same way that, like, okay, yeah, Adam was not informed, but this could have been something he could have fixed and I understand this upset, and I understand both sides, and both could have been better. That's the same way that I continue to try to approach, especially right now, this Adam and Hello Leash drama slash controversy. Um, so with that being said, let's jump into the meat and potatoes, I guess, of this stuff. So it's going to be a little bit of a rehashing, just a teensy bit, because these are things that I noticed. It was just like, oh, well, that's interesting. Um, so yeah, let's just jump in. So at one point in the past, I think this was around June, um, Adam mentioned during the Joshua David Evans situation regarding the studio that wanted to make the documentary that he didn't want to talk about the Colleen of it all anymore, which is fine. He was the one that was the most affected by it, and that came forward. Of those that came forward, he seemed to have been the one that was the most affected by it. That's his right to say, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to discuss this anymore. But now, because of the Jen Dent and Hello Leash situation, Cody Tyler, aka Cody Rants, aka Cody Reads, who was a whistleblower and problematic figure in the Colleen community and fandom, has come up again and prompted Adam and others to speak about the Colleen situation again. So, my only issue with that is, are we being respective of Adam? He stated he did not want to talk about the Colleen of it all anymore. That's the whole reason he denied and declined that the Joshua David Evans documentary, that was that and the studio that Joshua David Evans was working with. Like, he didn't like either one of those things. He didn't want to talk about Colleen anymore. He was done with it and didn't want to have to rehash it. And he did not like the studio that was promoting Joshua David Evans documentary. Both of those are fair. So, with the Jen Dent and Hello Leash situation, are we being respectful of Adam in that he likely doesn't want to speak on the Colleen situation anymore? I don't know. At the end of the day, that's his choice. He is allowed to change his mind. Um, so just something to think on. He previously was fake nice, artificially nice, faux nice, possibly bordering on trolling to Kendra. And I don't know if you guys remember Kendra, but that was a psychiatrist lady. She like was obsessed with her psychiatrist and then went to Claude and I guess ChatGPT. I'm not sure. Either way, that was an unhealthy situation. Um, but he was nice to her, artificially so, possibly bordering on trolling, to encourage her to make more content and TikToks. And that to me is at least slightly problematic because that's something that gave him something to react and profit off of. I don't like that. Um, there were so many times, and I was watching his channel at the time where he would be like, "Oh, let's just jump into her live chat," and he would come and be like, "Kendra, I love you," and it's just like, okay. Blah. I am unsure of Adam's true feelings or intent toward Kendra, but he has spoken about her like she is a joke multiple times. He has laughed about her. He has made snide comments about her. And this is after him basically being like, "We love you. We should collab, make more videos. We'd love to see more content from you." And then she will. And he would be like, "Oh, like her glasses are iconic. Her hair is iconic. Okay, cool, fine." But what you're reacting to mainly is the whole psychiatry and psychiatrist obsession of it all. So that seemed a little bit baity. And I didn't like the way that made me feel. So if you guys, don't have a problem with that, cool, fine. I did because that made me feel uncomfy. That made me feel like, especially since the Gabby Hanna video where she used Gracie um, to perpetuate a rumor, it just made me feel like these big influencers cannot be trusted and they can be nice to you, to your face, and then laugh behind your back. And that is, to me, very mean girl behavior. I don't like that. I'm a very upfront person. If I got a problem with you, I'm going to say it. And if I don't know. It just seemed like milking content and milking the niceties to gain more content to react to profit off of, and almost like exploitative. That almost seemed exploitative in my opinion, and I really really did not like that. Um, Now I will say he has made his stance on Hello Leash quite clear as of late, and she has done the same. However, and I could be wrong, so if I am, please let me know in the comments down below. I've not seen Hello Leash pretend to be nice to Adam in order to make content or further her content. And this isn't a huge deal, but I feel like it's important and worth noting if we're going to continue to look at patterns of behavior, especially since the Jen Dent of it all has come up, the Hello Leash and who people associate with has come up, how they act behind the scenes has come up. If we're doing all of that, and especially if Adam himself is doing all of that and reacting to all of that, then you should, sir, be an example with an audience as big as yours is and a platform as large as yours is. You should be the example. So going forward, I'm going to hope that I do not see him pretending to be nice to milk content from someone. Um, I think that it just gives me really weird, bad vibes. I don't like that. People also have been touting the idea that Oliver, Becky, and other victims of Colleen, which, by the way, Adam does not want to be known as a victim. I understand that. Oh, good. He's a survivor. But people have been touting that Oliver, Becky, and other victims of Colleen should be allowed to come forward. And that Adam has positioned himself as the only victim. Adam is a survivor, as are Oliver and Becky and more. He has not positioned himself as the only one affected by Colleen, ever. He has encouraged anyone that wanted to speak out to do so. Some of them wrote statements, some of them just want it to go away, and that is their right. Some people, you don't get to control how someone is traumatized, and you don't get to control how someone wants to deal with that trauma. They may want to deal with it privately. Adam is not sitting here. I've seen this back and forth of like Adam is making them be quiet so that he can get this 15 minutes of fame, and no, that's not the case. He has asked them to come forward if they have anything to say. I believe he even mentioned in the Swoop doc that Swoop was welcome to ask Oliver and Becky and any of them for their statements or any contributions they may want to make. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Becky that was just like, I would just like to pretend that this didn't even happen. This was horrible, and I just want it to go away. And that's their right. They have a right to just be like, I'm going to distance myself as far away from this as I possibly can. Very similarly to Gracie. Gracie, you've never really even heard about um, in regards to the Gabby Hanna of it all until or unless Jen came forward and had contacted Gracie. Now, there were some people who knew who Gracie was, but Gracie had not come forward. Gracie did not get on camera. So, did Jen control that narrative? No. That was the way in which Gracie wanted to be seen by the public, and that's fine. She was traumatized. That is within their rights. So there's a lot of like misinformation back and forth, all this other stuff flying around. I'm pointing it out as I see it. So now on to Alicia, Miss Hello Leash. And we are like right on time with like we're hitting like the 40-minute mark. I'm really loving this. I'm like, let's get it out, get it out, get it out. I love these times. I'm loving watching how good I was at like estimating. Let's see, hang on. Before we get too far, I want to estimate or I want to see what my estimate was. Tuesday, 20 to 45 minutes. Look at me go. Okay. So for Hello Leash, I have a few things we might go over just a tad, just a hair over 45, but I'm going to keep it close. I'm doing pretty dang good. So people are complaining that she took too long. Excuse me. And I think the number that was given to me was 13 minutes to get to the point of her video about Cody. Basically, she rambled on for 13 minutes and then finally got to the meat and potatoes, which was Cody, which was what she titled the video. Um, if that's the only qualm, then I'd kind of like to gently point out that Peter Mon has done the same thing. He has rambled for a good 20 minutes before getting to the point of some of his videos. Um, that's not a dig at Peter. That's just how he is. He's just that type of person. He's very much like, let's chat first, catch up. Here's what I did today. Here's what my plans are, and here's the drama. Cool. Um, Adam has done the same thing a couple of times where it's taken him, between 5 and 10 minutes, and like he's just interacting with his fans on the live chat, and then he's like, okay, this is what's going on. And that's fine. That's fine. If that's the only qualm, if the qualm itself is the amount of time that it took for her to get to the point, can we keep that same energy for everybody? That being the case, though, if the complaint is what she talked about for those 13 minutes, then we can have that conversation. Because if memory serves me correctly, she framed the start of the video as this is for the muckers, and then turned around and said, no, it's not. They're not going to watch this. And then it became, I can't trust them. And then it was, Colleen is uninteresting, but let's talk about Trent. And if that's what you're having a problem with, then let's have that discussion because same. Because here's where I stand. How is the grooming of minors? Any amount of them. 1, 3, 5, 7, doesn't matter. The amount of them does not matter. Any amount of minors. How is the grooming of any amount of minors by Colleen uninteresting? But Trent's actions and Cody's fanfic are really hot topics. And that gives me so many icks. Like, Hello Leisha said that the whole Colleen situation skeeves her out. And I guess in that sense, she's just like, ew, that's gross. I don't know. It makes her uncomfy. She said that. But I'm trying to understand why Trent's actions, and I'm not going to dive into that. If you know what Trent's actions are, you know how disturbing that is. Between that and Cody's fanfics, why are those like, ooh, that's juicy, gimme, 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 considering what it consists of? But the entirety of the Colleen situation was uninteresting. I'm so confused. So very confused. That that made me uncomfy. That she's just like, "Ooh, give me the PDF file type stuff and keep the barely touching PDF file, I guess, because it wasn't SUL over there." Like, why? Like, as someone who has gone through stuff, we'll leave it with that. I've gone through stuff as a minor that no minor should have to go through. Positions that they should not be put into, staying silent. The Trent and Cody of it all made me just want to crawl inside myself and forget that the world existed. But I couldn't overlook it. Like, I didn't address it because it was that uncomfortable for me. I made videos about the Colleen of it all, but I could not, due to my personal experiences, deal with the Trent and Cody of it all because it was that sensitive and traumatic to me, and it hit too close to home. Why is that interesting? Because to me, that's sick. Why are we finding something that sick interesting while just discarding the rest of it? Because without Colleen, we wouldn't know about Cody. Without Colleen, we wouldn't know about Trent. So why are we ignoring the bigger picture to focus on the sickos? That just, as far as like someone's character goes, I have the biggest question mark over Hello Leash right now. Like the biggest question mark over Hello Leash because I'm just like, what do you mean that's what you want the details of? That is giving. I've been trying to find the words and now I have them. I've been trying to find the words for the past 2 days to describe how that feels that she would say that Trent and Cody are the ones that she really wants the meat and potatoes about. It's giving Gabby Hanna saying, like, is there any evidence? Probably not, but I'd love to hear the story. It's giving that. And that makes me so uncomfortable. That makes me so uncomfortable. Like, why? That is so gross. It's giving that kind of energy, that kind of desire to have. It's just gross. Okay, it's that's gross to me. To tie, I need a sip of coffee. This is you're going over a few minutes because I finally found the correlation between the whole Cody and Trent thing and the vibe that Hello Alicia is giving me. And no, no, no. Now I wonder what's. I hate to say this. I hate to say this. I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. Now I'm scared to know what's on your phone. I'm scared to know what's on your hard drive. Now I'm scared to know what's on your computer because that's gross. The fact that you found that interesting. That's gross. I would not find that interesting. That's not the word I'd use. I'd find that disgusting, deplorable, and appalling. Those are the words I would use, not interesting. That's why it's giving me the whole Gabby Hanna, like, I'd love to hear the story. Ew. Ew. Gross. Sit down. Ugh. This is going to make tomorrow's video. Oh, tomorrow's video is going to be a whole doozy. Y'all still don't know the details, and it's. Mm, you probably ain't going to believe me, and I don't care if you do or you don't. It's just my experience. Same thing with the Patreon chat. You don't have to believe me, but I know what happened. I know how I was affected. Y'all ain't ready for tomorrow's video. Like, to the point. I have one last note, by the way. It's going to tie the Hello Leash and the Colleen and the Adam of it all together. But before I go there, this is why I mentioned Jazza in the beginning because I needed him to be the forefront. Because if nobody else watches this shit, I at least needed to help somebody and bring some attention to that because that's a positive thing because this is absolute dumpster fire. Tomorrow's video is going to focus on something that I had to sit with for days in conversations with my husband and be like, is this normal? I feel some type of way. Like, is this okay? I don't like this. I think that's probably why the whole like I took a day from Spence is just like a day, a day. Y'all are not ready for tomorrow's video. I'm telling you now. Like you're not. But it's going to make sense. A whole lot of stuff is going to make sense. And I really wanted to do things differently as far as tomorrow's video goes. I was kind of hoping that I would be able to go about it differently, but I don't think I can. I don't think there's any way around it. Anyway, to tie the whole Adam leash and Cody and Colleen of it all together, and I know that I mentioned previously that Adam didn't want to talk about Colleen, and now he's having to talk about Colleen again. Perhaps the reason that Adam keeps bringing up these topics after saying that he doesn't want to talk about it is to help people like Hello Leash to do their homework. Because you don't want to hear it from the muckers. You say you can't trust the muckers. You question their validity. You griped and complained about how long it took to get to the interesting parts of the Colleen situation. Okay, cool. So now Adam has reacted to Cody's own video, the live stream. And since you are continuing to talk about Adam so frequently, even in a 50-minute video, there you go. There's something for you to talk about. There's something for you to address. Cody admits to the fanfic. Cody admits to keeping the information to herself until it served her, until it was convenient for her to release it, until she was already out of the fandom. So there you go. There you go, Leash. And I think that that's probably, if I had to wager a guess, I think that's probably what Adam's doing is like, okay, so do you want to continue to talk about me? You obviously are keeping tabs on my video. Here you go. Since you don't want to do your homework yourself, I'll help you. I don't know. That's speculation myself. That's my speculation. That's also me giving benefit of the doubt. I don't have to. I choose to. Um, let's see. I want to make sure that I've covered everything that I had in my notes. I do believe I did. Yep. Okay. So yeah. Again, not a thing, not a video to hate on Adam, not a video to hate on Leash, not a video to necessarily defend Adam against everything, not a video to defend Leash against everything. Um, Certainly not a video to defend Leash on everything because, it gives me the hebas and the jibbas. Um, Now that I've made that correlation, I don't know. I don't know. It makes the whole. It's going to make tomorrow make sense. I think. I think it's going to make tomorrow's video make a lot of sense. Um, and if what I was told wasn't true from the horse's mouth, then I'm going to encourage people to have conversations with the people that they claim are their friends. So, anyway, that's today's video. Like I said, there are some new developments. This is kind of how I foresee Tuesdays going. New developments, some old developments, keeping it with the drama, um, watching as things unfold. Yeah, I don't know. Um, as things with the Hayden Panettiere come to light and things are confirmed, I will let you guys know. Same thing with Perez Hilton. Same thing with the Jazza situation. I don't know if there's going to be any more Spence or Adam or Leash content. I don't know. Um, but it was just little pins in the cork board that I was just like, ooh, forget about that for a minute. Let's circle back around to that for just a moment. Um, so yeah, just kind of touching bases. Um, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, a thumbs up, whatever you want to do. Be sure to hit that notification bell. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notification bell so you guys can be notified of all future uploads, and especially because Mondays are going to be coming and they are going to be rolling out fresh content on the 31st. Like fresh, new, never before seen. No, it's probably going to be very much seen. Just not on my channel. Content on Monday. Um, and yeah, stay tuned for Thursday tomorrow because we're not doing the catch up on all of this. Um, Tomorrow is going to be a video that one of the two videos that I've been dying to make. Friday is going to be the other one. Again, there's Wednesday and Friday are my free for all days, and this Wednesday and Friday are going to be centered around experiences that I have had personally myself. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be off. And then Monday, I don't know what we're doing this Monday, the 24th. Um, we shall see. So you guys leave a comment on yesterday's video, and let me know what you guys want Monday to be called. Let me know your favorite artist, your favorite song by that artist, so I can get writing down those songs and artists and you guys' username and shout you guys out in the video and all that good stuff. And if there are topics that you would like me to discuss that I did not discuss in this video, but you would like brought to light in next Tuesday's video, go ahead and comment that down below. And stay tuned for Thursday. I'll be doing some follow up for some of this. Um, and yeah, you guys have a good week. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourself. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.